Edward Diaz, Oxford Honors Program 2018 attendee. How are you doing today, Edward?
Oh, I didn't see you there. I'm doing great.
Well, Edward, today we're here to ask you a couple questions about your experiences with the Oxford Honors Program. Our first question we have for you is, has your experience influenced your view on global public health as it relates to the nursing profession? If so, or if not, how or why?
Well, I feel like this program has molded my entire view of public health and global public health for that matter. I haven't gone into my public health rotation yet, so a lot of the concepts that we're learning were brand new to me. My image of nursing has always been bedside nursing, taking care of a single patient and taking into consideration whatever disease and proper nursing interventions to do for that disease. I've never thought that as a nurse, you could impact people in communities thousands of miles away. But now I feel like I've gained a new perspective on nursing. I've had to think about how a patient's social determinants of health would go on to affect them. And before this term, I've never even heard of what social determinants of health were. For my final paper for this class, I wrote about the Rohingya population, and if you didn't know, they're a refugee group living in Bangladesh. I've had to think about nursing on a global scale, and now I'm actually very concerned about the Rohingya refugees all the way in Bangladesh and how they're suffering from communicable diseases and how most of their water is contaminated because of the social determinant of health of overcrowded populations and situations of the camps. And even if we can't do everything as international nurses because of scope of practice reasons, or because we're thousands of miles away, or because it's beyond of what we're capable of as individual nurses, we can act as advocates and use our nursing knowledge and promote their well-being and safety, even if we are 8,052 miles away.
Have you changed on a personal level as a result of this experience? Think about this from the moment you decided to apply for the Oxford Honors Program. From your application, to your interview, all the way through your flight back home.
Well, I feel like I've definitely changed, and I want to believe in myself a lot more after this program. When I received an invitation to apply for this program, I thought, oh, sounds cool, maybe I'll apply. And eventually I asked two of my professors to be my references, and then continued to procrastinate writing the essays because I still had doubts that I would even get into the program. And I remember it was the day that this program application was due, and I was sitting in my intermediate med-surg class, still contemplating if I wanted to apply. Then two of my friends, who were also applying for this program, somehow convinced me, so I said, sure, why not? I'll apply. I'm not going to get it, so you guys have fun at Oxford, give me a keychain. So that day I wrote my essay, submitted my application, and then weeks later it turns out I got selected for an interview. Cool. Walking into the interview, I still had the same mentality. I'm not going to get it. At least I'll have a little bit more experience doing interviews because I have always been terrible with interviews. And everyone who I talked to that day who was selected for an interview, who were very distinguishable because they were all dressed very nice, I would always mention that I'm not going to get it. Have fun in Oxford. I think at this point, I was still not doing well in intermediate med-surg, and I decided I was just going to go all in. I'm going to go to every tutoring session that PALS provided, and eventually I made it out okay in the end. And eventually I got offered a spot for this program, but I was still not confident with myself. And it was the OB term, and I had my genuine doubts that I was going to fail the class. And I was seriously considering dropping the whole term, to the point that I even emailed Gil and asked him what would happen if I were to drop the class or fail. And I was so convinced that I was just gonna get kicked out of this program that I waited till the last minute to actually buy my ticket. But in the end, I decided to stick through OB, and somehow I actually ended the class with an A. Anyway, the point of this story was that I need to believe in myself more. I really don't think much of myself, and I'm not always super confident in the things that I do. But I passed those classes. I made it into the Oxford Honors Program, and now I'm recording the Capstone video. I've done a lot, and I should be more proud of myself.
Well, Edward, you've talked about your journey through the application process. How was the actual program in Oxford?
Honestly, those 2.5 weeks in Oxford are probably the hardest I've ever worked in nursing school ever. The pace of this program really challenged me. There were many nights that I didn't sleep because I tend to work very slow when it comes to doing research. I've gotten a chance to work on my time management skills, but they're still lacking, as many of my mornings were fueled by coffee and Tesco brand Red Bull. But eventually, me and my group got through all the presentations, and honestly, going through this program, I think I can get through anything now.
Well, Edward, what do you want to do next? What does all of this change mean to you, to others? How will you use this cultivated knowledge to serve the community and or the nursing profession?
Well, first things first, I want to move into my pediatrics term and get to know the people in my new cohort. I really did not expect how much I was going to be miss studying at school every day, as opposed to researching. Sometimes I'll talk to the people in cohorts ahead of mine and hear bad experiences and how much work something is or how difficult a class is. But honestly, after this program, I feel like I'm ready to take on whatever nursing school has left for me. And hopefully by next year, I hope to graduate from West Coast University, see my bachelor's degree, take the NCLEX, get my RN license, and add 5 letters to my name. And eventually, I want to go on to grad school, get a master's degree, and become a nurse practitioner. I also want to be a better leader and be a better patient advocate in order to better serve my patients and ensure that they are receiving the best possible care. This program has taught me to take a broader perspective and think about things on a larger scale. So I want to take a step back and always treat my patients holistically for the person that they are and their cultural background, not just the disease that they have. Because every patient is going to be different and their cultures are going to be different. And the approaches that you normally use to communicate and care for your patients aren't always going to work with everyone. And that's when you have to seek help, work with your team, and then when all else fails, do some more research. From this program, I've learned to develop my critical thinking skills and find creative solutions to questions that may have seemed simple at first. But being a better leader isn't just about getting the job done and caring for your patient. I think it's about helping your team grow and giving them the opportunities and resources that they need to grow. Everyone in a team is going to have different experiences, and hopefully I can use the experiences from this program to make a positive impact on whatever team I may be working with in the future, whether it be healthcare related or not.